ladies.
Hi. So if I may,
Yeah,
I would
please.
like to jump in here.
Okay.
So we had talked on our last releasing fears and going through each edit. We had talked about the importance of soaking your feet because otherwise there could be a 911 call of I'm so outraged, I need help. And just as those words exited my mouth, no sooner do I find myself then calling Karen last night and you, Robyn, yesterday morning saying 911, I need help. And what was really coming up for me and the way that you both talked me off the ledge is what I would love to share, because I've noticed for me, this was a really clear sign of practice, what you preach in the first place. I was having a moment of my brain was in a negative loop and it still feels like I haven't quite gotten out of it, but I've now been able to come down from the crash landing. I call it hitting concrete, when I feel like I've smashed into concrete and I'm trying to climb my way back up what Abraham Hicks would call the emotional guidance scale, climb back up out of the ladder. And when I'm in it, I can't think of those things. I can't think of the tools. And I tell everybody, have a page in your notes on your phone with those tools and heal or heal thyself.
You do say that.
I do.
Yeah.
And I haven't done it. I even I'm going through this whole self-love thing. And those tools weren't really working. And my frustration was I kept going into this thought pattern that didn't feel good. I could recognize that it didn't feel good. And yet the loop kept going. So it was this weird meta moment of, I see that I'm thinking things that don't feel good. I shift from them and then it comes back up. Like it sneaks out from somewhere. And part of what came up in this and what I've been going back and forth with was I had a client who channels, who was channeling for me actually. And she was saying, I really think you need to get into Joe Dispenza. I think those meditations will be really beneficial for you. And I kept asking her, is this you saying it because you're such a fan of Joe Dispenza, or is this your counsel saying it that this will be beneficial for me? Because those are different things. And I went down the Joe Dispenza path. And I think some of his meditations have been amazing. And I've been listening to Esther and Abraham Hicks for years, and I love them. And they get me on a higher vibration. But nonetheless, I was open to the Joe thing and I signed up for the retreat. There's a 1-week retreat, and a week to me sounds really intense. That sounds like a lot of time to be sitting in an auditorium in my mind for 8 hours a day and just sitting there meditating or going through why law of attraction is important. I'm already on board with law of attraction. I don't need to be convinced of it. Let's just get to the high vibration. So that was where I had also brought up that there's an Abraham Hicks event in Dallas, and would Karen meet me there? And so Karen had reached out and said, let's talk about the timing of all of this if you're still open to it. And so that was why I went to Karen. So Karen, I'm going to turn it over to you and you can walk me through how you talked me off the ledge from there.
I'm not sure you weren't on the ledge when we were talking. I don't think you were. I think you were just trying to get clarity. It was just that moment of feeling like you wanted to do something, but you wanted to feel clear on what that direction actually was. And first I said to you, you don't need to be Joe Dispenza. You are Lizzi. Lizzi is her best version of herself. But I also said, how do you feel about going to that event? Really think about it. And so I asked Lizzi, how do you feel? I said, if you feel excited, if you feel elated, you should absolutely go. But if you don't, then maybe there's another place that you should be going. And we started talking about other places that gave her a lot more excitement and enthusiasm. Is that what you wanted me to share?
Yes. And you also said it should feel, not only should it feel exciting, but you can't wait to get there. And what I grapple with and where my struggle is, I still have really loud shoulds. So I feel like I'm seeking this light bulb moment of now I'm plugged in, now everything is good. Now business will take off. My person will come into my life. Now it's done. And I am seeking someone to do that for me, even though intellectually I know I'm already on, I'm already helping people. I'm already creating impact. I already have love in my life. And yet I still think, but she told me I should go. So am I missing out if I don't go? Am I missing some big nugget? Did the universe just say, we just handed you this package and you're turning your back on it? Yet right. When I think about sitting in that room, I'm like, oh shit, am I going to be able to go for walks? Am I going to be able to, I'm dreading it before I've even
gone. Yeah. If it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no.
Yeah.
And that is actually another thing that Abraham says. If it's not a hell yes, if your stomach isn't doing backflips and you are counting down the days to get there, which is what I needed to hear. And I was giggling at myself that I needed permission from the two of you to say, like,
It's so funny.
you have to go. You don't.
How many of us, don't we all do that? Don't we all feel if somebody gives us a suggestion like that, oh, it's a nugget and I should really follow that? But the other thing that I said to Lizzi, and I do believe this, is how I felt about Sedona when I went. When I signed up to go there, it was a calling and I could not wait to get there. And I think no matter what we're signing up for in life in general, we should always look for that feeling of, oh yeah, I definitely want to do that.
And I think when you have those, that, in my opinion, is our soul knowing. It's a knowing that's exactly where you're supposed to be. There's just, it clicks in the right place. It knows you're already there.
And I feel like because I don't have that knowing on any of these things, it means either I'm not paying enough attention, like I assign different meaning to it.
And I would say that another thing that came up even before we started this conversation is my knowing that you were looking to do those things, which for many people could be very like life-changing, transformative, all of that, because we know that we've had those experiences, which is why we're always searching for the next one, because we know that so much of this work can literally be like a light's turned on and it takes you to a different level of this journey. But what I was saying is that I know you're looking to do those things for several reasons. You're looking for that. It's community. Is there going to be a light bulb moment? There's so many different. And what I was thinking is, why don't we just create it? Why are we searching? We are talking and we're doing this virtually, but if we want to bring more people together, we should just be doing that ourselves and with the community that we know.
Right. It's the connection, the community, the bond.
Yeah. And then all people that are listening right now that are interested, that also are looking for that. We may not know you yet. We're supposed to. And so it's an invitation to us to create it and then for others to come join us.
Yeah. And I think there's something to be said about this new community coming together in a whole new way. I think vibrationally, we talk about vibration almost being like music. We're all in this alignment. And I think that there's so many of us out there that, yes, would it be great to go to a 5-7 day conference? Absolutely. But we can find that community right where we are. And like you said, Robyn, we can build it ourselves. I love this idea.
And create our own little retreat of some sort.
That's what I was thinking about. When I was teaching yoga 10 something years ago, I used to lead 1 or 2 yoga retreats a year. And it was so exciting and so fun. And it gave everyone the space to go do their own thing when they wanted and join the group when they wanted and really show up authentically as yourself. Like, I need alone time now. And everyone be like, yes, go get your alone time. How did that feel? Not, oh, you're going to miss the meditation that we're about to do. Yeah. And that to me is what I've been craving, is because I'm not doing that anymore. I miss it and I miss the connection. And I was trying to recreate it in this other thing. And also that feeling of the fear of missing out.
And then I also want to go back to what else we were talking about in terms of how do you get out of the loop?
So a lot of this came from going through a breakup a couple months ago and not wanting to think about him, but being stuck in that loop of thinking about the positive and the fantasy that I wanted it to be instead of the reality of what it was.
And so to your point of not utilizing your own notes, whether it was me or Karen, just to say, have you done our freezing negativity exercise that we took from Sonia Choquette that we always tell everybody about? Have you done that? And can you utilize it and morph it into something that's going to work specifically for your situation? And then when it came to talking about how to create newness, what are other tools that we aren't thinking about, we started talking about feng shui. And of course, you had literally been talking to someone the night before that was over your house.
The other thing that I thought was hilarious was I forgot that about a week ago, I called another one of my soul sisters and I had told her, and again, intellectually knowing that I was doing it, but still being in the loop. And I said to her last week, every time I think about it, I'm going to start saying this or something greater, because I'm doing all this work on living in the future and creating the future I want and feeling it now and all the law of attraction stuff that I do deeply believe in. But the challenge was when I was thinking about it, my brain was going back to the last time I had it. And that was the memory of the last time I had it, was the fantasy of what I wanted it to be. So now I was like, okay, in my mind, that felt good. So I'm going to let it feel good. And I'm going to add this or something greater because we got to upgrade from that story.
Yes, you do.
You should also share that what you taught Robyn and I to do too was that go into the future and record that and listen to that.
Yeah. So that's one of I call it a day in the life, and I call it mindful soul setting. It used to be a goal coaching kind of thing, but I like to delete the word goals because I feel like so many of us are caught in the cycle of, I'm going to get straight A's this semester. And it's a goal that if I don't hit it, I have fallen short. And I think it's time to delete that mentality. So mindful soul setting, I walk you through this whole process about where do you want to be in 10 years? Because they've done studies that if you think of something 10 years from today, it feels like it's far enough away that I have enough time to make changes to do it, but it's not so far away that I can't imagine it. And then you work your way back. So by going through enough questions and exercises to come up with, how do I want to feel 10 years from today? What does my average Wednesday look like? And then I have us create a recording of, I wake up on my average Wednesday 10 years from today. This is who's in bed with me. This is what I do when I open my eyes. This is what I see, feel, touch, smell, all the things, and walk yourself through your day so that you can live in the feeling as if it's already here and really live in the senses of it, like the 3D senses. So law of attraction says, if you've already dreamt of it and you've already set the intention that you want something, you already have it. In some other parallel universe or different space, it's already done. And what we're trying to do is in these meditations is go into that existence of, I know what my closet looks like. I know what the bathroom looks like. It doesn't need to be exactly that, but I know it feels like I have enough space for all my stuff and there's no mess on the counter. And I know the details because of how it feels to lay in bed, open your eyes, hit a button and the blinds go up and all my flowers and trees are there and the puppies snuggle up and my husband wraps his arm around me. Like I can physically feel that. So living in the feeling of it, even just for a few moments of the day, helps attract that in. It's drawing in the right radio frequency that we're looking to listen to.
It's become one of my favorite parts of my day. I listen to it every morning. I listen to it either while I'm eating breakfast or while I'm putting makeup on to get ready for a meeting.
And has Jeff heard it?
Jeff and Bella have heard it. They're all in. They
Amazing.
love it. Yes.
So Karen, when do you listen?
I was just going to say though, it doesn't even have to be that far out either.
Like mine's 3 years from now.
Yeah. And I think for me, it's easier just to do it less distant time frames so that you can see it, but if it doesn't feel like unattainable, oh my gosh, the world can change so much in 10 years. You can do it however you want. You could do it about next week too, if you want. But I just found that 3-year mark for me felt like it was attainable, but I could still see it in my head. I can still imagine it.
Yeah. It's also helpful as you're going through it to write down on a separate piece of paper on something else, what fears are coming up about it? What limiting beliefs are coming up for you, right? Like, what is it that you're feeling like you need to have sorted out or figured out? How am I going to make that much money to buy that house? Or how am I going to ever do that? Or where's that going to come from? You want to write those down because that's what we want to edit out. That's what we want to end up deleting because the vibration, that's the frequency you're putting out. And so that's what the universe is saying yes to, instead of you don't need to know how the movie ends. Just go sit your butt in the movie theater.
That's good. So how are you doing today?
Way better. Yes. I woke up, I did my day in the life. So I do mine while I'm still in bed. I set my alarm early and I do it then. And I did my appreciation journal. Like I've been really doing the work to stay above water.
Well, and I think it's so important that we're talking about this because we can know all of these things and we still need to utilize all these tools. I know for me, it's been bonkers type of day. And from a mindset perspective, I have to really keep myself in a place of keep going. And I need that reassurance. And I think sometimes that surprises people that I'm so passionate. I so see things in the future happening and they don't have to happen exactly how I picture them, but I have that feeling and I have that knowing. And yet there's so many things that life throws at you from all aspects of life. And it can be really tough to keep that positivity. It's not, I was talking to someone the other day about toxic positivity, and then it really doesn't feel authentic. So I am normally an extremely positive person, but I'm tired. So
I love, Lizzi, that you were able to be vulnerable like that
Right.
even here with everyone, and with like even to call me and ask me my thoughts on it. That made me feel so much closer to you, and I was so honored that you'd want my advice on it. So this is such a helpful conversation for me to feel like, yes, be vulnerable, but it's also wonderful to be on the receiving end and being able to help somebody else out too.
And Robyn, for me, when I'm getting into that place of I'm exhausted, it's helpful for me to remember my why. So when I'm doing the mindful soul setting, everything is about why are you doing this? Why do you want the house? Why do you want the closet? Why do you want? And for me, when the why comes back to, because I'm a soul that chose to come be in a human body and I came here to have what I want. I came here to experience joy, and that feels joyful. So I deserve it. I was talking to a client this morning and she was like, I feel guilty going out of town, even though this has been planned for a year because I just had COVID. And so I haven't been hands-on with the kids and at work. And I was like, that's the deserving. That's the questioning of, do I deserve the vacation if I am not exhausted?
Oof, that's big.
Yeah. Like you deserve the trip, period, the end. You don't have to earn it.
That is huge.
I don't have to earn the right to have a beautiful closet and a beautiful home. It feels good to me, and therefore I can attract it.
So good. Where I thought you were going was the why around why I'm tired could be because I am doing too much, because my boundaries aren't good, because I'm signing up for too many things, because I'm saying yes too often. And taking that inventory is important too. I think we're always falling into that should mode. Oh my gosh, I should be doing this today. But maybe we're not putting in enough of that deserving good stuff back in so that we aren't as depleted.
I think that's actually a really good point too. And I just think that sometimes, I don't know, energetically around me, it's like when it rains, it pours. That's how it feels.
So I have a question for you guys. I was on a YouTube live and this woman was talking about how September and October, frequency wise, she kept saying these are going to be really hard months. There's a lot of transition. There's a lot of people stepping up and accelerating and all this stuff about energy. And she said like maybe 2 or 3 times, it's going to be a really hard 2 months. What are your thoughts on that?
It makes me, I'm like pushing it away. Anything that says it's really hard, I don't like using those words.
And you say it is. Like you,
I was like, you're setting me up.
Yeah.
I'm very much like a word police.
Exactly. You don't want to say I am or it is because
I'm really hard. It is going to be really hard. All of those together. No. Like, why are you putting that out there?
Was it an astrological thing that was?
She does similar work to what I do, but she works on like a different kind of plane and does it in a different way. And I think she's doing really cool work, but that just caught me so interesting. I was like,
feels like to me, it's almost not like the way that what I was saying to you, when energetically, when it rains, it pours. To me, It just feels like it's coming from all angles, that places I wouldn't expect. However, that's how I feel today and maybe the last few days, but I feel it can change. When you already put out, it is really hard and it's going to be for 2 months. Oh, like that's just like, I don't want to get out of bed.
I had a reading with an intuitive in August, and he was like, all right, it's been a whirlwind. It's been a kind of tough for you the past few months. October will be better. And I will say, I have been clinging to that.
I know you have.
Like fact or fiction, it has given me a light at the end of the tunnel. He said it's going to change. It's changing.
And you're going to look for it.
So you're already putting that out. So you're putting that out there for yourself.
Like I'm already expecting it. Hands down, October and September has gotten better than August, and August was better than July. So it's like I'm trending up. But when we say things like, okay, if you're looking at the astrology or whatever it is, you might know that info, but to tell us that felt like it was setting me up to say, oh, I'm in a bad mood. She said it was going to be hard. Here I am.
It's a prediction that, that's going to become reality.
I wanted to bring this up because I've noticed people are already starting to talk about holiday season and work stuff and marketing and promoting and all that stuff. And I hear so many people say, oh, the holidays are so hard. Be your own word policeman and be mindful, because if you make that kind of proclamation, you're looking for it. You're telling the universe, shovel more of this crap towards me.
And Karen and I have talked about this before. Using the word I am, like I am tired, I am depressed. Change that to I feel tired. I mean, that's okay. You can change that, but not I am. It's like not claiming it to be. Though that's just one example. All these different examples that we're talking about right now are ones to be aware of and notice the words that you're using on a daily basis. Just like people don't really talk about energy, people don't talk about words, and words are tangible. Words are a proclamation of something. So be mindful.
Do we have time for me to go on one more tangent?
Yeah.
Sure.
I've been making a huge effort to post on TikTok. And someone finally commented and she said, when it comes to energy work and programs, how do we be mindful about what we're doing to our kids, which the three of us have talked about before, but this leads right into that. Most of us get programmed between the ages of 6-ish to 9-ish. And then the veil, they say, closes between the conscious and the subconscious mind. And when you have kids that age, or really anybody, the more mindful you are about the words you use, about the way the world works, the better. So if you use more things about I feel, or my experience has been, or when I was a kid, I felt, versus you have to work really hard to make money. If you want to have a nice life, you better study because you need to get a good job. That is not a fact, right? But it can be factual to say, in my life, I've had to work really hard, but there are other people out there that are born into wealthy families or that inherit really big money or that fall into a great job and they sell their business, right? There are different ways. So being more mindful about the words you use, especially around young people, is really important.
I wish that I even knew more of that as Bella was in her more formative years.
And I also think it's important to know for parents, because so many of the parents that I talk to talk about the guilt that they feel. And just to also remember, your child chose to be your child as a soul at a specific time when you had the knowledge you had to go through this programming, and they'll find their way through it. So we're not saying that.
That is the truth.
We are saying that from today moving forward, we can say it feels like I programmed in the wrong stuff for my kid, and that you could change it now.
And again, you can feel that. Like you can feel if you're saying something to your child from a place of fear versus encouragement. When you physically feel that you're guiding them from that place of fear, then you know that the words should probably be adjusted too. I think that's so great. Lizzi, you're on fire today.
That is really good. And the other part too, I'm just going through this with Bella now. Sometimes I don't know what to say. And I actually say that to her. I say, I don't actually know the right words to say to you right now. I love you and I'm going to figure it out.
Wow.
And I know that maybe that's not the most reassuring thing to say, but it's honest.
And that's me feel so loving.
Yeah. And coming from a place of being really honest with your child. And I think there's something to be said. You don't always know all of the answers. You don't always know what the right thing to do is. And that allows them to say that back to you. Mom, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. But if you're always coming out as having all of the answers, that puts them in a place of, I think, disconnection.
Thank you. We don't always know. And I think we grew up in a time where parents felt like they needed to have the answer.
Yeah, I just think about talking to Graham sometimes when I feel like he's going off in a direction that I don't want him to go into. I tend to say those things out of fear, just like what you just said, Lizzi. You're not going to get a job if you keep doing that. Or if you don't save your money, you're never going to be able to buy. Oh, I feel so guilty right now, even saying that out loud. But it comes from that place of just wanting to make sure he's safe.
And those things are true for you.
Yeah.
Look, dude, if you don't figure it out, you're not going to be able to do these things that you're saying you want to do. I have more experience than you do. I've seen this movie before. So that is true for you, but it's your fear for him and you, right? And part of that, this is a much bigger conversation, but part of the challenge with kids is you're making the choice and I have to deal with the consequences. Because if you don't go get a job, you're still living in my house and I'm not doing the things that I wanted to do. Or for any parent, right? If you're not on a good path, I'm still sick because I'm still attached to you because you are of my cells. At least that's what I imagine parenting to feel like. So It is related to you and it is true for you, but we just want to pay closer attention to, is it a fact? Is it a hard, solid fact?
Totally.
Working really hard does not always equate making a lot of money. There are people that work 3 jobs and barely get by.
Absolutely.
So that is not a fact of the world.
It is not.
No. If you study really hard, then you can get the job of your dreams. Also not a fact.
1,000%. What you're talking about is so relevant in my world right now, because I actually am saying to Bella some of those things like, I want you to do well because you want to do well, but we're not going to put that pressure on you. Yeah.
I feel like this is a topic that we should have a full convo about, the pressure that kids are under, that were we or were we not? Because I feel like there's so much conversation and debate around what's happening with kids now. But as a non-parent, watching my sister and friends and everybody raise their kids and like being the older cousin and the someday cool aunt that I will be, that role and watching it from afar.
You're a cool aunt now. What are you talking about?
Yeah, they just don't know that I'm cool yet.
I bet you do.
And the other thing I think too, that just to circle it back to where we started around your moment of just trying to get clarity even in your own life, part of that also I think came out of your weekend of visiting your family. And I feel
That's true.
That is always like such a trigger for so many of us because we're comparing, like I'm the oldest of 6 kids. So I'm constantly, how are my kids performing versus their kids? And what am I doing versus what they're doing? What house am I? So I just want to give you credence that that happens to all of us. And it does tend to set us down a rabbit hole.
That is so true.
It is true. And it was a spiral. And Robyn, I actually was crying on the phone with you, telling you how my sister and I are the oldest of a bunch of cousins. And like the younger cousins are now having their significant others join the family, which is lovely and beautiful. And I want that for all of them. But I was like, when I'm in those settings, as happy as I am for them, I feel like such a loser that I don't have kids. I don't have a partner. I'm not doing the things. And the story in my head is that they're like, oh God, just don't end up like Lizzi. Just don't, God forbid. And it's like the soul crushing of that. Like,
oh, Lizzi.
And even people saying to me like, oh, are you going back to LA for the weekend? And I'm like, no, it didn't work out. Here we go again.
And what I reminded you, by the way, is that you had those things when you were like, you did get married. You did have these things. You did do those things. And it's not true.
And this is back to the programs of the shoulds of at 8 years old. The conversation was when you have your own husband and kids and your own house, you can do these things. Not if, when you are a mom, you can do these things. And I have actually had these conversations with our rabbi. And I've said, in your sermons, you talk a lot about when you raise your children this way. And do I not have value because I'm a Jewish woman who didn't have kids? There's got to be a space for me here.
And I would say in our day and age, way more so than when we were all growing up, it's a very different world.
100%.
It's a very different world with so many different ways of being now. Right. Yeah. Even outside of being single or not having kids, you could have changed genders. You may be a different sexuality. Like there's so much that we weren't exposed to. And not everyone, I think, so there's the programming from when we were growing up. And then I think that there's some people who don't keep up with all the different options that are on the table. And so many people choose to not have children for many reasons. But I get it in the sense that there's this story that you have and then the programming. Yeah.
And the comparisons. It's like we're all
the comparisons.
Do that. And think about how much more you know about yourself now, Lizzi, than you did when you were 24. And you've taken the time to do the work to really understand that. So when that partner comes into your life, you're going to know who you are.
Karen, you've had so many changes.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I got married when I was 24 and it didn't work. So give yourself grace and some credit for the powerful woman you have really become.
Thank you.
And are.
I think it takes some time to shake it off. And I can do better by knowing we're all going to be together again next week and preemptively padding in a little extra building up on the self-love so that when I come home, there's not the crash.
Yes. All right. Till next week.
Thank you, friends.
Thank you.